All right. Welcome to Fireside Chats here on this Wednesday evening at 9 o'clock. What we've been doing over the last couple of weeks under the unique circumstances we're facing is trying to bring people conversations that'll help them, inspire them, encourage them. And tonight, we hope to even make you laugh a little bit. Tonight's a special bonus episode of Fireside Chats, and I've got my good friend, Kyle Landis with me. And Kyle's going to be joining the broadcast. You can see that he went to a lot of work to get himself prepared for this movie-themed opportunity. And so, Kyle, welcome.
That's not true. This is how my room looks all the time. I like to have M&Ms and popcorn. And this is literally, if you come to my house, this is what it always looks like.
Well, this is one of the reasons that I have sometimes fond feelings for you, but also furious feelings for you, because you can eat M&Ms and popcorn all the time and still somehow another remain.
Let's do it.
120 pounds. But hey, Here's what we're talking about tonight. We're talking about the 5 worst movies of all time and the 5 best movies of all time. But before we get there, Kyle, you're one of the most extroverted people I know. You've been on self-quarantine for 2 weeks. Yesterday was your first day to get out of self-quarantine, and you got out of self-quarantine into shelter at home. So, man, how's this been for you?
Man, it is, let me just say to all of you out there, if you've got extroverted friends that are Enneagram 7s, it's not a joke. You need to check on us. We are literally struggling in our own homes. We are waiting for the moment when we can be with other people like this. By the way, Brad, I thought it would be appropriate if we're going to do a whole movie favorite 5, least favorite 5, that I would share some of my movie jokes. I don't know if that's okay with you or not.
You know, I thought before we get into what is clearly going to be definitive, distinguished movie criticism at a high level, I should, in light of the fact that you have not been able to share some of your ridiculous jokes, give you here on this national broadcast with what is now up to around 25 live viewers. And maybe at least 57 by the time the night is over. So go ahead. What is your best movie jokes?
Well, I'm not going to tell you my best because I feel like we've got the whole night together. So let's ease into it. But it did remind me, like, we're talking about the movies, and I don't know, those of you, a couple weeks before this quarantine started, I went to the theater and watched a movie about cheese. It was G-rated.
Wow, that's just
G-rated,
fantastic. Okay, I'm going to give you one chance to salvage that one. All right, here we go.
So, how does Reese eat her ice cream?
How does
Reese eat her ice cream? Witherspoon.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Reese Witherspoon?
I do.
Sweet Home Alabama. Everybody loves that.
All right, so here's the deal. I want to know out there in the audience, those of you watching, Kyle and I, we're going to have a little back and forth. We're not going to judge his joke telling. That's easy, too easy to do. But we are going to talk about the 5 worst movies and 5 best movies. And we want to know what your favorite and worst favorite. Yeah.
Brad, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you just fine.
Okay, I got a new phone. I got a new phone the other day at the Samsung store. Yeah. And on the way out, they had security guards at the front door. And I didn't realize this, but the security guards at the Samsung store are called the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Reader's Digest wouldn't even publish these jokes. That's how bad they are.
Fair enough.
All right. I really hope your movie picks are better than this. So without further ado, here's what we're going to do. We're going to start with the 5 worst movies. We're going to start with our 5th one, work our way down to our number 1 least favorite, not just our least favorite, but what we feel like as 2 distinguished, undistinguished, uncredentialed, but we've got over 80 combined years of movie watching experience. We're going to give you our 5 worst. So Kyle, let's get us started here. Of all the movies that you have seen, and that's a lot of movies, let's just face it. Of all the movies you've seen, what is number 5 on your list of
So
worst movies ever?
the worst movie that I've ever seen, number 5 would be maybe the best movie Kevin Costner ever made, Waterworld. I hated everything about it. Everything about it. Waterworld,
Yes.
number 5.
Yeah, I'm with you. That's pretty terrible. All right, so here's my number 5. I need you to go all the way back to the very beginning of American Idol. Kelly Clarkson faced off with Justin Guarini. My wife and I were young, only been married for a couple of years, and we were watching the very original season of American Idol, which now we're 433 seasons into various music reality shows. But what people often forget is after that American Live or American Idol, Justin and Kelly teamed up for From Justin to Kelly, one of the 5 worst movies of all time. We watched it. It was painful. It was horrible. My number 5 worst movie of all time, From Justin to Kelly.
Yeah. But Brad, remember, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So you do your best.
I don't know who said that, because that just seems like words that were put together and somebody said, let's make that a saying. Because sometimes what kills you maims you and leaves you in a bed. So I don't even understand what that statement means. But
was that
anyways.
the same year David Archuleta was on there? Do you remember David Archuleta?
No, like that came a little bit later, I think. That's probably like around 3 or 4.
David
All
Archuleta did, and Neil. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, we'll do the top 5 songs another time. But number 4, what's your fourth worst movie of all time?
This is going to probably catch you off guard because it's a movie I just recently watched on Netflix, Velasa Pastor. Let me give you the background. Let me give you the background because I know what you're thinking. That just sounds dumb. The pastor, who's actually a priest, he gets handed a dinosaur tooth, which scrapes him, which gives him velociraptor powers, which he then uses for good to kill bad people for the sake of good. Velasa Pastor. I would recommend not watching it ever unless you are literally at the end of the Tiger King and you have nothing else to watch.
I do want to point out, and I do want to give some sort of, you know how movies have ratings, rated R, restricted, PG-13. I do want to give one warning for those of you who might be a little sensitive tonight. We have at least 3 faith-based films in our worst 5 ever. And so I just don't want anybody to get caught off guard. But that sounds terrible. My 4th least favorite movie, I'm actually going to cheat here. I'm going to actually go with a category of movies and say all the satire movies are terrible. Whether it was the satire of the scary movies or the epic movies, the satire movies are intended to be funny spoofs, about various popular movies. But they're really just terrible. They're not funny. And I get it. Their production costs are about $5 million, which is a lot of money to us, but is like pocket change to the movie industry. But the satire movies are just terrible and they just need to stop.
Wait, do you mean not like Christopher Guest stuff? You mean like the fake screams?
Yeah, the fake screams, the movies where they try to make fun of like, Gladiator or the Spartans.
Yeah.
They're just all terrible.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, those are bad.
All right. Let's move on to number 3. What's your 3rd least favorite movie?
Okay. I know probably a lot of Christians out there watching. This movie probably led you to Christ. But my least number 3 worst favorite movie is Fireproof. I don't know if you guys remember this one. It's,
Fireproof.
It's Michael Seaver is in love with his girlfriend, who's actually his wife, I think. Like, that's the female in every movie he does. He's a fireman. I think I watched it 7 years ago on Valentine's Day at our church.
That movie was supposed to save your marriage, Kyle.
It not only did it not save my marriage, I walked out on Christy and left her at the church. Like, I'm sorry. I know some of you are probably thinking that that movie should probably go down in the Gospel Hall of Fame. Salty, the Psalm book. Was that the guy? I think
Wow.
that should have went in the
Yeah.
Salt of the Songbook.
Yeah, that's probably a very subculture of Christianity. We might have just lost a few viewers on Salty the Songbook, but wow,
Oh,
Fireproof. Yeah, that's tough. Well, here's my third worst movie of all time, Batman and Robin, the George Clooney Batman. Listen, George Clooney, let's just face it. The guy's handsome, the guy's debonair, he's suave, he's handsome, he's beautiful, but he is the worst superhero and particularly the worst Batman ever. Batman and Robin wasn't even a good slapstick movie. The George Clooney Batman was so terrible. I can't even begin to describe it. I would actually put the Dark Knight trilogy. It would be in my like top 10 to 15 range, but Batman, third worst movie of all time, Batman and Robin with George Clooney.
I don't think I even saw that. Batman and Robin.
Don't.
Ooh.
It would be a waste. It would be like a 90-minute waste of your life.
Is that when Batman gets trapped in the airport and flies all over the world? I don't even remember.
It's hard to even keep track. It's so terrible of what it was. All right, number 2.
Okay, number 2. Look, I like both of these actors, actor and actress. But this movie was predictable from the very beginning. It's out of date because of the technology, but my second on my really bottom 4th is You've Got Mail.
All right. We're going to have to fight about this.
There's no fighting.
Listen, Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan are the best rom-com duo ever. And I don't want to hear any of these new people. I don't want to hear about any of Sandra Bullock or Ryan Reynolds or whoever. Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan were fantastic. Joe Volcano, Sleepless in Seattle, You've Got Mail. I've seen You've Got Mail 15 times. I would go watch it right now. I think it's blasphemy.
I can't even believe you put it in the category with those two movies. It's a movie about two people who connect on email, and it was dial-up. It wasn't even like high-speed email. It was dial-up email.
How can you not trash? It's 1995. Like if you had an AOL mail account, by the way, I still have an AOL mail account. I use it for my Phantom Web mail. But man, if you had an AOL mail account and you got that message, You've Got Mail, your heart lit up. Like somebody sent you an email. That was a big deal in 1995. And I just can't believe the chemistry. I mean, Brinkley, Dave Chappelle is in You've Got Mail. I mean, I just don't even know where you're at with that.
You know what? I know.
I would respect it if you made that in your top 5 list, but the fact that it's in your bottom 5 list, it's just, I would like to know if our viewers are with me.
You hate it because you hate capitalism. That's what you hate. You hate capitalism. So just go. Now you've lost everybody that's watching this.
Admittedly, I love both the big bookstore and the little shop around the corner. All right. I don't want to get trapped there too long. Let me go to my second favorite movie and let me just, I'm serious. Like if you need to send me an email, brad@bradraby.com. And these views are not representative of anyone else, but I just need to go ahead and preview it. I'm going to put another faith movie on worst of 5 movies of all time, and it's Left Behind. I'm just sorry. Like Left Behind was just rough. It was terrible. Like, let's just be honest, theologically. I was a part of multiple kind of evangelistic scare tactics with Left Behind, but I don't know. Like, did you watch Left Behind? Did it freak you out? Did you feel like the rapture was going to come? And
I'm going to be honest with you. You lost everybody because everybody watching this had Kirk Cameron in the white jeans and the sport coat leaning on his side against the wall on a poster next to their Alf poster in their bedroom. And so I'm going to disagree with you.
Listen, Kirk Cameron as a child American family sitcom star, love it, on board with it. Mm-hmm. Kirk Cameron as the superhero in an eschatological film known as Left Behind. I just can't handle it.
By the way, you said they should email you at bradraby@bradraby.com. You don't want them to email you at your AOL account?
Oh yeah, you can hit me up on AOL. You can hit me up on AOL.
Okay.
Or Instant Messenger. I see a Chloe Poole. I love me some Instant Messenger. And listen, if you love Left Behind, if you read all the books, I mean, that's great. That's awesome. More power to you. It was just one of the worst movies I've ever. All right, Kyle,
Okay.
number one, your least favorite movie ever is number one, worst movie of all time.
This is going to hurt people. I know it's going to hurt you, Brad. I have yet to make it through the whole thing. My worst favorite movie is The Notebook.
Okay. Listen.
I still don't get what's going on. Are they together? Are they in the same world? Is he writing her from a different world? Like I literally, is he dating her great grandmother? Like, I don't know what's going on here. I just don't get it.
Let me stop here. First of all, let me address some of the shenanigans in the comments here. First of all, Austin Franklin accusing me of not liking Chick-fil-A. That is not the same as not liking Left Behind. Man, I am all for some Chick-fil-A. Matter of fact, right now, I would love to have an 8-piece nugget with a little honey roasted barbecue sauce and a Dr. Pepper with the Chick-fil-A pellet ice. That would just be awesome. But let me address this blasphemy. Listen, I get it, the cliche, but of all the Nicholas Sparks works, The Notebook was like the one that was legit. In my premarital counseling, I use it as the preeminent movie or art display of self-sacrificing love. I mean, you have a man who sits in an assisted living facility, and because he's so devoted to his wife, he reads her their life story. The kids come up and say, "Dad, come home. Mom doesn't even know who you are. She doesn't know who we are." And he looks at his kids and says, "Kids, that woman in there, she is my home. I'm not leaving her." I mean, yeah, everybody loves all the like crazy, rip your shirt off scenes and everything, but that was self-sacrificing love. So look, I get it. The Notebook, that type of kind of romance movie is not for everyone, but man, you're talking about a picture of self-sacrificing love. That's what we want right there.
No, you still didn't even explain it to me. Like, is he writing that to her now? Was it then? Wait a minute, hold on.
Listen, I'm sorry that you can't keep up with a movie and how the plot goes back and forth in different time sequences.
It's Mr. Kathy from, he's not getting any more Chick-fil-A? Okay, yep. Oh, all right. He's saying you will get more Chick-fil-A if you read the Left Behind series kid version first. I'll have him.
Listen, by the way, Brian Smith, I see you there. My boy Brian, he's in rural New Hampshire. By the way, they don't have to start social distancing. They already start out 6 miles away from anyone. And my poor brother, he's like an hour away from Chick-fil-A, and we just wounded him by reminding him of that. So Brian, I don't know if it'll taste good, but I'll try to mail you some Chick-fil-A this week. All right, let me move to my number one least favorite movie of all time. I don't think this will be super controversial, but let me take you back in time. Some of you young folks on the screen, maybe some Gen Zers, maybe some young millennials, you won't remember the glory of going with your girlfriend or your wife to the Blockbuster to go up and down the aisles and not only see what movie you wanted to watch, but they had to have a copy of it, So popular movies, if you didn't get it, they'd have a popular. But Julie and I, we went to the old Blockbuster and we rented a Mandy Moore flick, Remember A Walk to Remember? I think it's around 1998, kind of sappy, sad, makes you cry. Have to admit it made me cry. And so Mandy Moore is in a new movie called How to Deal. Google it on IMDb. I guarantee you the Rotten Tomatoes score or whatever is got to be below 30%. But Mandy Moore in How to Deal might have been the worst movie ever. Now, I'm a fan of Mandy Moore, but that was the worst movie of all time.
You're first of all, you're not a fan of Mandy Moore. I've heard you talk about this before. I am a fan of
Mandy Moore. That movie was terrible.
No. I remember my daughter was singing a song from Tangled one time and you kicked her because you wanted her to stop.
No.
You hate Mandy Moore. You don't watch This Is Us? Do you watch This Is Us?
I don't watch This Is Us. I live This Is Us. I've got no time to be emotionally drained. I watch Parenthood, and that's the last time. If I'm going to watch TV, it's to escape reality, not to just be emotionally drained. Like, life is hard enough. I can't handle the heartbreak. And so, no, I know This Is Us is a great TV show, but I sworn it off. I live it every day. I can't do it.
Well, I feel like you've just taken this down a really dark path because my assumption is.
Let's get off the negative and let's start talking about the positive. All right.
Okay.
We've
Are
talked
we
about
going number
five worst
5?
movies.
We're going
Yeah,
up now.
we're gonna work 5, and then we'll end with the best movie of all time. Best movie of all time. What is number 5 in the best movie of all time?
Okay, number 5 for me is not only the best movie of all times, but it's the best event that's taken place outside of the resurrection of Jesus.
Whoa.
And it is the Miracle on Ice.
Oh my
now,
gosh.
I know what some of you are saying. Some of you are saying the acting's a little shady. Some of you are saying, were they even professional actors? If you are at home right now in quarantine, I guarantee you, you watch this movie tomorrow morning, 3 things will happen. 1, you'll order ice skates on Amazon. 2, you'll feel good about everything that you do. And 3, anything that happens that's good, you will yell, "Do you believe in miracles?" Right there. Number 5, best movie. Reason why, there's a scene where the coach has got him going up and down. You remember, up and down the ice doing shuttle runs. And he gets down and they finish. He goes, again, again, again. I could watch that scene over and over and over again. This is it. Number 5 on my top 5 list.
I just need to point out that you said second to the resurrection, this is the greatest thing that'll ever happen in your life. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that right there and move on. Number 5 best movie of all time is an animated movie. This movie started what is now a 4-part saga that moves me every time. I can't even hardly watch the 3rd one, but it is Toy Story. The animated tale between Woody and Buzz, their kid Andy. Man, I love me some Toy Story. And I know it's an animated film, but I think the Toy Story series is phenomenal. I can't even watch Toy Story 3 more than once. When Andy goes to college, I just can't handle it. I lose it.
So wait a minute. Are you saying the Toy Story? I feel like you've just thrown 4 movies in for your number 5 best movie.
No, I don't want to do that. I want to be fair. I'm going to say Toy Story, the original, is epic.
Okay.
And it's the best, and I love it. So Toy Story is my number 5. What's your number 4?
I would just say, if you have Disney Plus, please go watch Forky Asks a Question. I guarantee you there's 6 episodes. They're about 5 minutes each. They're hysterical.
It's pretty good.
Okay.
It's pretty good.
Number 4, I would bet most people watching this have this on their list, but probably the funniest movie of all times, the 2 funniest actors of all times. I put number 4, Dumb and Dumber. I could clearly right now quote to you 92% of this movie. Easily the number 4 best movie of all times. Parents, be careful watching this with your kids. I don't know why our parents let us watch this when we were kids. But if you notice there, I have my name on this copy because I have handed this out so many times and it hasn't been returned. Dumb and Dumber, number 4.
All right.
By the way, incredible soundtrack.
I just want our audience to recognize that we are on the 5 best movies of all time, and you put Dumb and Dumber on that. The jokes just make themselves. Can we take a little sideline here? Has anyone else recognized the phenomena that some of the language and saltiness of movies that you remember from like the late 80s, early 90s, like you just forgot about it, or maybe our parents let it? Like this last Christmas, I was showing my kids the unedited TV version of Home Alone, and I was like, whoa, forgot about that, Anyway, all right, Dumb and Dumber. I would like to know what the audience thinks about your choice of Dumb and Dumber. Here's my number 4 best movie of all time. Andy Dufresne, played by Tim Robbins, sitting in prison unjustly with his best pal Morgan Freeman. Shawshank Redemption is the 4th best movie of all time. It combines comedy, drama, tension, freedom, sadness. Your emotions go everywhere in that movie. The visual of the prison, by the way, my family has been and visited. You can go to Mansfield, Ohio, and walk around the prison that is known as Shawshank. but Shawshank Redemption is my number 4 best movie of all time.
2 things, Brad. One, I just want to clarify that you said that your parents have been to that prison. We're just going to let that sit there. Number 2, I can't watch that movie, and here's why. Please explain to me how he gets into that hole. Spoiler alert, everybody, if you have not seen the movie, you've seen the movie. It runs on TBS like 12 times a day. How does he get into that hole and then put his hand back out and hang the poster over the hole and get back in?
Dude, the poster's hanging there. He crawls in it and the poster just falls down behind him. It's fine. It's like not a big deal.
No, you can't. No.
Hey, by the way, that's one of the great scenes when he throws the rock through the poster and who was the model that was on there, whatever her name was. And he says, let's see what Miss Fussy Britches has to say about it. Oh, that was such a great line. Anyways, Shawshank Redemption. I love it. And even if my family had been in prison, why would you judge me for that? But just to clarify, they were guests. All right.
I was not judging. I was not judging. I was clarifying that you said your parents were.
You were clearly implying. Number 3.
Okay.
What's your third
number
best
3?
movie,
this
favorite
is
movie of all time?
I'm a little surprised, honestly, that it took us this long to get this actor in top 3. But this is number 3 favorite movie. Maybe my favorite actor, top 3 favorite actors. I went with The Patriot. And let me tell you, first of all, the soundtrack to The Patriot is running through my mind all the time. Like in the morning when I'm off to work, I'm playing that like really rich, revolutionary, music. But there is patriotic. A scene, if you Heath Ledger, like when I see Heath Ledger, I want to, I get teary-eyed. But
you want to cry. Yeah.
There is a
life taken too soon
in this movie. There's a scene in this movie where parents, if you got your kids watching, push them away for a second. It's the spot where Mel Gibson's son gets killed and he grabs his other 2 sons and they go running out in the woods. Aim small, miss small, aim small, miss small. And then they finally hit him and Mel Gibson comes out with his axe. And I'm not going to tell you what happens.
He goes on a hatchet mission and he gets vengeance. But
like,
later in the movie, I can't help it. I shouldn't laugh at this, but when the British general looks at him and says, "The little boy, did he die?" I just crack up every time. But I love The Patriot. I don't know it's in my top 5, but it does warm. It is like a heartwarming, especially when his little girl runs to him on the beach and talks to him for the first time. That really gets you. Okay. All right. Well, let me tell you my third greatest movie of all time. And you can see Kyle and I's cinema tastes are a little different in grandeur, but The Godfather. The Godfather is like the quintessential movie for wisdom. I quote it so much, it would help all those people, the people who are around me, if they would watch Caddyshack, Seinfeld, and The Godfather, because then we could just quote the movies. But like you need to be able to go to the mattresses. Everyone in life needs a wartime concierge. Robert Duvall's part, The Godfather, man, it is to this day. If I've got a block of 3 hours on a holiday, I want to sit down and watch The Godfather and then The Godfather 2. And then I really wish Robert Duvall was in The Godfather 3. It's not nearly in the same level as 1 and 2, but man, I love The Godfather.
Yeah, I'm not going to fight you on that. I would never fight you on that. But I would tell you
because
that
you would lose.
My number 2 favorite movie, and I think, again, soundtrack, historical positioning, probably an actor that I'm not sure anybody could name that has done a movie that's a 6 or lower. My next favorite is Remember the Titans. Remember the Titans.
Chloe Poole.
Chloe Poole. Every person that I see, I call them Sunshine. By the way, including Brad.
Yeah, because every morning at the gym, hello, Sunshine.
I believe Brad looks like Sunshine from this team.
Everything
about it. My favorite leadership
line. The hair is not there, though.
My favorite leadership line of any movie is in this movie when the two captains are fighting each other, and the one captain says, the attitude on this team is terrible. And the captain says to him, attitude reflects leadership, captain. Attitude reflects leadership. My favorite one right there. Remember the Titans.
It is one of my favorite. I debated it. One of the things that drives me nuts is I think there's a lot of people who have this opinion that Remember the Titans is overrated, and I just have no time for those people. They just are ridiculous. I'm loving some of the comments here. Man, Top Gun, how good is that? I really wish they would, that's supposed to come out this summer. Let's just go ahead and bump that up. Put that on Amazon so we can watch it. Lord of the Rings, fabulous. I thought they did a pretty good job. I mean, it's hard to take the books, they're so long, and put them in the movies, but I thought they were great. Christmas Vacation, that's fantastic. Here's my second favorite movie.
Whoa. Hold on with the Christmas Vacation. Again, back to what you were saying before. When we watched the Christmas Vacation,
to what Kyle just says.
No, when we were watching Christmas Vacation as kids, that had to have been edited.
Clearly. The TBS version. We'll clarify. The TBS version.
Yeah. I could not believe I'm watching that with my kids. They're like, I don't know, 6 and 8. And it was like 7 minutes into it. I was like, we can't watch this movie. So It goes down with the rest.
Melinda, what do you mean? Is there a women's version of this? We've highlighted like a broad spectrum, but maybe we should chime in.
You said you hated Mandy Moore, so you lost all of the girls.
I said I argued over Meg Ryan, and you've got Mel. That's fantastic. Anyways, all right, my second favorite movie of all time. I know it's super popular. It was an Oscar winner. I know it's not strictly historical, but man, Braveheart. Like when William Wallace, played by Mel Gibson, marches out in front of these farmers, these agriculture workers, these hunters, these poor Scots desperate for their freedom, and then he rallies them. What would you trade for just one chance at freedom? Man, your heart begins to explode. You're like, I am with you. Let's do it. Let's charge. Braveheart, number 2.
Dude, absolutely. That was scratching into my top 5. I wasn't ready to do that. By the way, I do see all the comments popping in, and I do want everybody to know, like, I tried my best to put some of my favorites around, because obviously Spaceballs, Rocky.
Okay. All right. Spaceballs fits in the satire. It's okay. Of the satires, it's okay. But here's what I love. I see Saving Private Ryan, mad respect for Saving Private Ryan. Mm-hmm. Sound of Music, that's all right. All right, you're here. We're at that moment. The best movies of all time. I can't wait to hear what you've got. What have you got?
Okay, so I'm really concerned. I'd love to hear people's feedback on this, because my guess is every person watching this right now doesn't even have this movie in their top 10, maybe 15. I don't know if this was a movie that, like, it broke in the Northeast. I used this movie to teach. It is the greatest redemption or revenge story of all times. It's a love story. It is one of those stories where you're like, you got to be kidding me. There's a prison escape. There's a love piece to it. There's revenge. There's best friends, fighting best friends. Like, there's everything you can think of. And I have, without a shadow of a doubt, Jim Caviezel in The Count of Monte Cristo. Now, I don't know if you've seen it, Brad. A lot of people have not seen this. All right. So I would caution you, but I guarantee right now, you watch this movie, it will go into your top 20 in an hour and a half. Guarantee.
All right. Listen, I want to apologize. Look, Jim Caviezel, Monte Cristo, fine movie, wonderful little piece of entertainment, but the greatest movie of all time. All time. I see a JC, love me some Shooter, especially when Mark Wahlberg says they go into the patron place of shooting stuff in Tennessee. Wow, Monte Cristo. Wow.
No. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I just didn't see it coming. It's fine. No. Everybody teach their own. Let me give you my favorite movie
Hold
of all
on,
time.
hold on. Can we push the pause button for a minute?
We can't push the pause. It's live. We can't push the pause, but you interject with whatever you want to interject with.
If you saw The Count of Monte Cristo, would you now say, oh my gosh, I loved that movie? As a matter of fact, one of the lines in there I quote all the time, which is, I'm not going to be your whistle. It's like, oh, there's so much. Kings to you, Edmond. Kings to you.
I don't even know what to say.
You haven't seen it. You haven't even seen it.
I've seen it. I've probably seen it twice. I mean,
and what was the name?
First of all, it's a remake. So let's just say that. Second of all, I mean, it doesn't
hate Jim
belong.
Caviezel. You hate Jim Caviezel.
Jim Caviezel's Jesus. I don't hate Jim Caviezel. And he's also the guy that played, whatever. Anyways, all right.
Count of Monte Cristo, let me
try to rescue this. And I know I'm going to receive mockery for this, and I'm okay with it. The movie that I think is the greatest movie of all time, before I give you the title, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, it's actually an Italian movie. And I want to recommend that you watch this movie. Do not watch the English dubbed version. Watch the Italian version with English subtitles. But the movie that is my favorite movie is Life is Beautiful. And I'm telling you, during this COVID-19 crisis, you want a movie to lift your spirit and to encourage perseverance during this time. Life is Beautiful. Life is Beautiful tells the story of a family, Jewish family separated during the Holocaust. Mom is taken to one camp. Dad and son, who's maybe 6 or 7 years old, is hauled off to another camp. And the dad, I'm going to give you a little bit of the plot. The dad creates a game, and he convinces his son that they're playing a game, and that's how they survive the concentration camp they're in. And I won't tell you the end of it, but the end will make your heart explode. Life is Beautiful. Check it out. Rent it on Amazon.
Brad,
probably the greatest cinematic work of all time.
We know how the story ends. That's awful. Who would pick a Holocaust movie for their favorite movie of all times?
The person.
This is the worst. You should have sent me your list. This is embarrassing. I can't believe.
Did you hear me tell the part where a dad, in such devotion and love to his son, helps his son survive? They don't even know, the soldiers don't even know the kid is there. He creates the illusion of a game. He goes full on Kyle Landis. He goes full on Enneagram 7 for like 4 years and creates a game. And then the end, oh my goodness, it's unbelievable. You've got to see it. Watch it and then tell me I'm wrong.
Do they live?
Yes. Sorry.
What? You just ruined the whole movie. You just literally ruined the whole movie.
All right. We got a couple of folks in here talking about Princess Bride. Hilarious. Kyle, I think you hate that.
I don't hate it. Levi said he hated it. How can you hate that movie?
I don't know how you can hate it. It's hilarious. All right, listen. Yeah. This has been fun. Hey, I know this is nothing but foolishness that we're talking about tonight, but man, I know it's been a hard time for several of you out there. Thanks for joining us to banter back and forth a little bit with Kyle and I on the best and worst movies. Kyle,
Brad, I prepared a couple jokes, and you didn't.
I want to give you one joke, and if it's good, I'll let you have a second joke. Noah Case popping in with Joe Dirt. Oh my goodness.
My word.
I really question who I just hired to be one of my assistant pastors now.
What do you call it? What do you call it when Batman skips church?
I don't know.
Christian Bale.
Okay.
All right, one more.
All right, I'll give you one more.
You know what? We didn't talk about on a scale.
Salvage your movie picks with this last joke.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much did you like Harry Potter? Because I was 9 3/4.
That's so terrible. By the way, little note on Harry Potter. I've seen like 1 or 2 of them. Like they came out when I was graduated from college, and so I just didn't hit the Harry Potter piece. But I would like for those of you who are watching with us as we wrap up this, if you would just go ahead and leave in your comments whose list you had more respect for, mine or Kyle's. I mean, it's not a competition except that it is. That'll be fine. But Kyle, thanks for joining me for some shenanigans tonight. If you would like for Kyle and I to come back with another evening fireside chat where we make fun of each other and argue about things that don't really matter that much, give us a few topic ideas, maybe best song, the silliest thing we did that no one knows about, whatever you might come up with, and we can put in on that.
So just a couple things to close out. These are my final comments. So I hope you were all watching what Brad just did. He somehow got away with like 8 favorite movies by picking all the Godfathers and all the Toy Stories. He talked to us about his parents' time in prison, which is super cool. His favorite movie is, what I'm just learning now, is a movie that apparently was based off of a fake story about the Holocaust, which was Brad's favorite. And above all, he hates Mandy Moore, Jim Caviezel, and Kirk Cameron. So yeah, sounds good.
Kyle is doing his best impression of cable news, where you take what somebody says and make it whatever you want it to be. All right. Well, hey, this has been Fireside Chats. Thanks, Kyle, for joining me. Enjoy the rest of your popcorn. Everybody else, man, hope you enjoy your rest of your evening, and we'll see you back soon. Take care.
See ya.